Hello, it's Brian from Electric Power Sports, and I'm going to tell you why the Kuberg Ranger is the best dirt bike on the market. So I'll get this video started here, just going to kind of see what this thing is like, playing in the background. A few things. So what is this? It's got a mountain bike suspension. So is it really a dirt bike? All right, that's questionable. Well, obviously you can do some fun things off-road. You're not going to be doing any crazy moto crosses and 50-foot gaps on this thing. But for trail riding, for having some fun, I think it's awesome. If you can look at it here and see some unique aspects to it, it has a 14-inch rear wheel. So here it gives you a better idea. 19-inch front wheel, 14-inch rear wheel. So it looks a little bit strange that way. That's also why they call it a scooter. You'll notice it has platform down here where your feet are sitting instead of pedals, which again, a bit unique. And a reclining seat, right? This thing just automatically goes up and down. So it's unique from that. And if I was in their marketing department, maybe these are made in Czechoslovakia, or maybe it's a European versus US thing. Man, scooter just does not seem like the right word to describe that. I'm not aware of any dirt bike rider, sport bike guy that's like, oh man, I can't wait to get me a scooter. Sorry, I just don't really, not really into that. However, it's also pretty neat. I think it'd be an awesome pit bike. So I'm doing track days. Currently run a ZX6R Kawasaki. Yeah, you got this little trailer that comes with it. Awesome. Then you do those track days. So, all right. So that's the quick overview of it. Why is this the best bike? And we'll talk a little about where to get it. Now, I ordered the race, so it should be to me in the United States around November. If you act fast, this is the Indiegogo campaign. Just Google it. Put a link to it. They still have it available. You can still go in and order this thing. It says it's $4,545, but in the United States, you get $349 of shipping. So brings your total cost to $4,890 to your front door. Nice. After I ordered mine, I was very pleasantly surprised to find out they're also throwing in a free bike. Zero details on that. I'm looking forward to seeing what that's all about because most of their bikes are pretty awesome. But that's all I know. They're on a free bike. I have 3 children. I'm at the age of 5, so I'm pretty excited about the free bike. I think it's going to be pretty sweet. The other thing that would really be worth pointing out here is it's a 14 kilowatt battery. So it's about the same as the $20,000 e-bike that Simon Cowell just backflipped on and got hurt. A lot of power to that. I'll compare that in a second. So let's go through real quickly the benefits here. Make this a little bit bigger of the Kuberg Ranger and why this is the best electric dirt bike available right now. One, it's under 5K. If you order it right today, now it's under $5,000. Insane power to weight ratio. I have a whole spreadsheet. I like spreadsheets. I'm going to show you my spreadsheet that shows you where it ranks against other gas bikes and so on. Very lightweight, 110 pounds. You know what? That's so impressive. I'm going to type it in there. 110 pounds. That's pretty lightweight. Lighter than any gas dirt bike you're going to find out there. Great pit bike with that added trailer. I'm sure you can come with other ideas for it, but that would be the one that I'd be using it for. Minimal maintenance, particularly compared with gas bikes, right? No oil changes, no winterizing. I live in a cold climate. The winterizing thing, just not so much fun. I have kids, so I'm always busy. I love the idea of just putting the bike away and 6 months later pulling it out and being able to just ride it without having to worry about anything. Not made in China, so obviously I'm comparing it to the Sur-Ron here. Kind of in a trade war, maybe worse. I don't really know what's going to happen there. I'd probably buy a Sur-Ron anyway, but it's nice to have another option here. And the free kids bike. How cool is that? So that's the overview. Let's do the quick analysis from the spreadsheet side, from sort of the engineering side. And I'm going to highlight this column over here. I'm sorry, this one right here. Total pounds per kilowatt. So what is this? This is your pound per horsepower type number. Kilowatts, your horsepower. That's the equivalent measurement we're talking about here. And it includes my weight. So assuming at 160 pounds with some gear, it breaks down to what's my total pounds per kilowatt. So that's a rough idea of the performance of the bike, right? You can change sprockets, you can change tire size, you can change gearing, all these types of things. So this is just factory power to weight ratio, what we're looking at. So right down here, number 8 is the Kuberg Ranger single 9.3. What's above it? Sur-Ron Storm-B doesn't exist yet. Kuberg Freerider, we'll talk a little bit about that. So this is another interesting option. Yamaha YZ250. So YZF250, it's a gas bike. It's going to have all the maintenance, the oil changes, and all that kind of stuff. It's also a lot more expensive. Let me say $200 plus delivery, plus tax. So it's probably pushing, not quite $4,000 more. Maybe $3,500 more. I mean, that's a significant difference in price. Of course, better suspension. We'll talk about that in a second. And at the top of the list is our Zero FX, 7.2, but it's $11,000, right? It's also 289 pounds. Remember I said this thing, the Kuberg Ranger, is only 110, but 289 pounds. So when I went through and looked at this, I said, okay, what is the best e-dirt bike right now? I really came up to 3 answers, looking through dozens and dozens of options. The Freerider, so it's also by Kuberg. Show you that one here. So this one looks a little more standard. To get the 14 kilowatt version, the 20-inch tires, sorry, I don't know, 24-inch tires is $6,000. Now you get the 24-inch tires, which surprisingly, I'd probably go with those, $6,400. Actually, a really good price. I might get one of these anyway. But I contacted Kuberg directly because I was actually looking at getting a bike for my son, my 4-year-old, and was kind of getting some details on it. And I said, man, I just ordered the Ranger. I'm really torn. Is it worth paying extra money to get the Freerider? And the sales manager, I think he's actually a North American sales manager, wrote back to me and said, no, you definitely made the right choice. It is an upgraded bike. It's got the regen. I actually kind of like that it's a bit heavier. So this is a 79-pound bike. The Ranger is 110 pounds. It's obviously going to be made a little bit beefier because of that. And I don't have one. When I get one, certainly walk around and kind of get an idea of that. But the added weight, I think, has some benefits to it as well from that perspective. So, it's a tough choice. But the $1,100 price difference, the upgraded electronics, components, controllers, regen, braking, and so on, to the end, I think the Ranger is the one to go with. So give it the nod on that, mostly on the price differential and the upgraded components. The other one that's worth looking at, people talk about all the time, the Sur-Ron X. Now look at this way down here at the bottom. So the Kuberg Ranger Duals, heavier, KTM Freeride. So let's look at that for a second. The Ranger is outperforming better power to weight ratio than a Freeride EXC from KTM that costs $10,500. Wow. All right. Vector Vortex, I can look into those ones. Pretty cool bikes, but again, $6,000 and less performance. And then some trail gas bikes, right? So something that would be more in line with the suspension travel of one of these bikes, not like a full motocross bike like a YZF 250 would be. And also comparable in price, right? We're almost the exact same price, $4,900 is where we're at for that with Destination. Look that one up. But it's not as good as performance. Nice. Again, Rangers is ahead of what I would look at as a good trail bike comparison, way ahead of a Yamaha TTR 230 on a power to weight ratio. And then way down here's a Sur-Ron X. It's good price, good looking bike. I think it looks great. It's pretty cool. A lot of upgrades and things available for it. But at what it has available with a 5 kilowatt hour motor versus maybe some places read it says 6. I think they're rounding. 5.4 is most often what I saw. So, but even when you take into account that, the power weight ratio is more than double the Kuberg Ranger's performance output on that because they weigh exactly the same. They're both 110 pounds. So that's why I think it's better than the Sur-Ron X. And I'll do a separate video. You can upgrade the Sur-Ron X, add bigger batteries, add better controllers, those types of things, and get that thing very close. Here's the Kuberg Ranger single. Here's the Sur-Ron X in power to weight ratio. But now you're looking at another $1,300+. So again, price difference, man, the Kuberg Ranger is really hard to beat right now with that Indiegogo deal. So that's the overall summary of why I think it's the best. Now that being the case, there are some cons, some drawbacks. Number one, the minimal suspension travel. So let's look at that. So that's this column right here, suspension travel one. It's about the lowest of anything on my list. All of the Kubergs are running the same suspension. It's 180 millimeters, which works out to be a little over 7 inches. The Sur-Ron X has 8 inches of suspension travel. These trail bikes are 8.5, 8.7, so those are pretty comparable to it from that perspective. So, yeah, if there's one drawback, if there's one thing I was going to upgrade pretty quickly on it, it would be looking at that suspension to see. That being said, I'm more of a street guy. I'm like getting into this because I have little kids and I like to go riding with them. And so they're going to be riding, PW50 or something, some small 50cc equivalent electric. it has like 2 inches of suspension travel. So I think we'll be able to keep up with them. So at the moment, not as big of a concern for me. I think overall the value of what you're getting there is still better, but that'd be my biggest concern. Clearance, that's this column here, is good. 10 inches of ground clearance is going to get you over just about anything you're going to hit. Not going to give you the big energy absorption when you're coming over big jumps, like in a motocross setting, but that's not the goal of it. That's not really what it's designed for. So that'd be the one potential drawback. Works out well for me. They call it a scooter. Why do you call it a scooter? I don't understand that. Kind of wish it even had normal pegs. It'll be interesting to see when I get it with the platforms what I think about that or how often I'm going to use the seat dropped. The small back wheel, is that going to be a problem off-road? Getting over logs or rocks or whatever. I don't know. I'll do a separate video kind of analyzing the thrust that's outputting, right? Smaller wheels can give you more thrust. Obviously, there were some cool videos of the Kuberg Ranger drifting that I thought were pretty neat. But overall, there's just nothing to compare to it. And, you can look at it from a bunch of different angles. For the price, for the quality, for the controller, for the battery size, the 14 kilowatts, overall, it's just a phenomenal deal. I couldn't pass it up. I got one on order. Can't wait to get it. And if you act fast, you can do the same thing. So hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to the channel. And let me know if you have any questions or if you disagree. Think there's something else out there that's better. Might be able to get some more details on that and chat some more.